I know, there's still one Premier League game to go. I know, football's a weird game. Anything can happen. And trust me, I'll be waking up on Sunday for the first time in my Arsenal supporting life thinking, we could win the Premier League today. I've never had that as an Arsenal fan. And that's exciting. And we should hold hope for that, because otherwise, what's the point? Like, you don't have to expect it to happen. I don't expect it to happen. But I'm obviously hopeful about it. Now, with all that, it's like I just said there, which I squeezed it in. It's like we don't really expect it to happen. We expect Man City at home to West Ham, who've shipped 5 against Chelsea, 5 against Palace, and they're at the Etihad, and City have been there and done it so many times. We expect them to get it done. And because a lot of people are expecting them to get it done, there's a bit more, call it post-mortem, a little bit more reflection on the season. What went wrong and what do we need to improve this team, to close the gap? And obviously it comes down to transfers, it comes down to players, it comes down to players linked. And the players have been linked very recently. Don't get me wrong, I look at them and what I hear and the little I know is that he's a talent, he's a talent, he's a talent. But there is something that slightly concerns me. And I've been thinking a lot about what Arsenal need next season. And I hate to be this guy, but I have my fears over whether the players we're linked with are really what we need to close the gap to Man City. But when I ask the question, well, who's out there instead, I have a little bit of a worry with that as well. So let me try to break it all down, starting with the reports we've got. Because Sam Dean let us know that Arsenal have a strong interest in Benjamin Sesko, and they're considering a move for him this summer. Rival clubs also believe that Arsenal are in pole position to sign the striker should Arsenal choose to formalise their interest. So basically, everyone feels that Arsenal are in pole position to sign Sesko if that's a deal they want to get done. Then you go to the João Neves stuff. Graham Bailey saying that Arsenal have added 19-year-old Benfica midfielder João Neves their midfield list of options. They've intensified their scouting of him in the last 6 weeks. Again, heard very good things about this guy. Then we move on to Neves Hato, talked about by Fabrizio Romano. Apparently we keep monitoring as he's one of the best talents in Europe for his position. He's already been scouted for months and Arsenal keep following him. He did sign a new deal in 2028. I think that was more of a professional contract he signed though, because he wasn't on one before because he's so young. But that's the word, young. There's a bit of a theme that runs through all 3 of those players. So if I show you this and I try and illustrate their experience, which is quite difficult to do, right? How do you quantify experience? Because there's big game experience, there's international experience. There's so many ways you can quantify that, the team they're playing for. But at a very surface level, at the ages of 18, 19 and 20, with 61, 74 and 120 senior appearances in club football, they don't strike me as particularly experienced players. Now, to be fair, Sesko has played for 2 clubs. He was at Leipzig. Well, he's at Leipzig and was at RB Salzburg. So that, to be fair, is a degree of experience. He's experienced a transfer, he's experienced 2 different leagues, but he's 20 years old, and I don't think he's actually been a regular starter for a prolonged period of time at Leipzig since he joined there. Neves, playing for Benfica at 19, seems a talented midfielder, but again, 19 years old, only 74 senior appearances, and Hato's the same, with very few, and again, because he's very young. No one's questioning the talent, but the age thing is something that is on my mind. Now, let me show you this. It's the title winners and their average age, and I've put them into Premier League rank, where they ranked in the Premier League for their average age as title winners. Now, Man City, look how many they cleaned up. So depressing. 7th, 7th and 11th, the last 3 teams. That's what they've ranked in terms of their average age amongst other Premier League clubs. When Liverpool won it in 1920, they ranked 7th. City then with 10th. And then, funnily enough, the Centurions were 17th in terms of their average age. Just the year before, which was interesting. And then Chelsea, when they won it 16-17 under Antonio Conte, were 12th. Now, here's my kind of takeaway from all that. Because you can see I've got there in the table that Arsenal ranks 17th. This is the current Arsenal team. They rank 17th this season in the league. Now, I would say that the average, or the range, should I say, it's not that massive, right? I think it's from like 27 to high 24 to 25. I don't think the range is massive. So, you can see that I think one season on, you can be the 17th oldest in the league to the 10th. It can change quite a lot. So maybe it's something that's worth not fixating on. But Arsenal, since the 21-22 season really, have been the young group with the young manager who are inexperienced, who are learning, who are growing. And we keep saying, but look what this team will do in 2-3 years' time. The problem is we're about to go into Mikel Arteta's 5th full season. And we keep hearing about stages and phases and all that. And I believe that behind the scenes, they must have some sort of plan and journey for where they're going to go and how they're going to get there and how long that's going to take. But I would imagine, and I don't obviously know anything, but I would imagine that Mikel Arteta's 5th full season would have had silverware attached to it, and not just any old silverware, but major silverware. I would imagine that as this season there was an expectation that we are competitive in the Champions League and certainly push City all the way. Okay, we've at least done that. There must be an expectation that the silverware is going to come over the line next season, especially if we're going to have another £200 million summer or so. Now, do these players who at 18, 19 and 20 are certainly really exciting young talents, do they come in and improve the squad and close that gap to City? Now, we're looking for quality, and they may absolutely have quality. They may have people who talk on these players who watch them week in, week out. I don't. I always am very honest. I don't really watch much football outside the Premier League. Fans who do watch the other clubs speak so highly. These other players speak so highly of them. They do, and I feel like you should know that the conversation around Neves Hato, around João Neves, around Benjamin Sesko is like, these guys are going to go to the top potentially, and that's really exciting, right? You think, well, great, bring them to Arsenal, let's have them go to the top with us. But is that what this current group right now needs to get over the line next season? Because I do think we need to be one of those more experienced teams, and like I said, experience is quantified in so many different ways. There will be this current Arsenal group that are far more experienced what they've done the last 2 seasons in a title race. But I do think age and players who have somewhat been there and done it has to be a part of that. Now, that's difficult to do. I totally acknowledge that João Neves at 19, who could be the next big thing as a central midfielder, might come at a better price, although Benfica do charge a lot for their players, and that doesn't always go well. But, might charge a slightly better price than if you were to try go get the ready-made, ready to go central midfielder who's 25, 26 and has that experience, that age, has played a lot of football in different places and can give you that immediately. Look at Bruno Guimaraes, right? They're talking, £100 million release clause, but they might be willing to go down to 80 million. Like, oh, great, thanks. I don't think he's an £80 million player, Bruno Guimaraes. So I understand that Arsenal might have to be clever and go, okay, well, this player might get there eventually and we'll get him for cheaper and we can grow and nurture them. But I don't think that's where Arsenal are in their development. I think we need to be looking at more 24 to 28-year-olds who are quality, are going to come in and add a lot. But again, that's easy for me at a desk and a mic to say that. I'll get a 28-year-old who's world class. Okay, who? Like, and where? And it's not my job to find them. But I should be able to at least give some names, and maybe with a little bit more time and thoughts I might be able to come up with some. But that's, I think, what Arsenal are balancing. I just have concerns over whether these players at this age bracket are the 3 mega money signings we should be making to take us up to the next level next season. For what it's worth, and I don't want you all to think I'm being really negative about these 3, because like I said, everyone is speaking so highly of them. They do feel perfect in terms of pure profile. If you're talking about Hato, a player who can play left back and centre back, who is really good on the ball, who has got some height and some presence, who's probably happy to play in and out the team. Timber will play a little bit. He might come in at times and you can grow him and develop him, whatever. That feels actually like a really good fit for the squad in some ways. Neves, if you're talking a player who's got really tricky, quick feet, can play as a DM, can play as an 8, might complement Rice brilliantly because he's not... apparently he's a very good dual winner in midfield. Again, I need to look into all the numbers, but he might complement a Rice brilliantly in terms of what he can do on the ball as well. And you've got Ødegaard, maybe you get a little bit more flair and technical quality in midfield, which would be fantastic. And then you've got Sesko, who is tall. I think he's 6'4", 6'5". He's got some presence, he's quite athletic, and he's a raw talent that can do most things physically and technically in the game as a striker. But again, at 20 years old, is he definitely what this group needs? So, look, the profiles fit, the talent, from what everyone's saying, exciting. And maybe one of them, maybe Sesko with an experienced midfielder and defender, or maybe a young defender, because we seem to be actually pretty well stocked in defence, with a experienced midfielder and an experienced striker, maybe that will work. But the balance feels a touch off right now if we were to get 3 players all 20 years or younger. And that's where I slightly worry. Is that where this Arsenal team needs to invest and add? And is that the type of player and the experience level of player we're going for? I'm not so sure. But I invite you all to let me know in the comment section below why I'm absolutely wrong about these players and why these links are really exciting. We should be going for them. Don't get me wrong, I want talented players at the football club, but I think we have to be think we have to be looking at more than just their quality and their potential and their talent, and actually looking a little bit more on the other things as well. And I just want to say a really big thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, actually hit the links right here to watch more content like this, including my Football First podcast, which drops every Monday to Friday at 6 AM. And I know it's annoying, I am really sorry to have to ask, but if you want to show support to the channel, hitting the like and subscribe buttons help promote the content much more than you could possibly know. Thanks again.